Hey YouTube, I'm Eggman, and I wanted to take some time to talk a little bit about a game you might have heard of, Valheim. I've been playing for around 40 to 50 hours, and I just wanted to give my initial thoughts on something completely new to me that took me by surprise. I want to talk about the first 10 hours I had, I want to go over my overall thoughts on the game, and then I have some tips for people interested in trying it out. So let's dig in. Never played a survival game before, the first 10 hours were spent purely learning the mechanics of a game like this. Building, gathering, how the environment changes impact you. I built a crappy little 4x4 house after spending an hour gathering wood for it. I built a fire to cook food on only to then fail to kill the nearby deer.
Hunting is hard.
Someone told me that I could tame wild boars, so I spent way longer than I should have trying to lure a boar across the map to a rickety little pig pen I made, only to let a boar I had previously trapped out and watch as they both ran away laughing at me.
Come here, piggy. Don't run away. No! No!
I've played through the Soulsborne series, and I've tried every MMO and RPG variant out there, so there are many mechanics that are intuitive enough to me that I was really able to just focus on enjoying the early stages of a survival game like this. So much so that the people I was playing with felt I would enjoy other titles like Ark and Rust that I had just previously written off. There is just something so magical about a game like this making you enjoy a mundane task like cooking. I didn't progress very far in the first 10 hours, but I was just truly able to enjoy myself learning the game without feeling like I was wasting time or missing out on something epic, and that's at the core of this game. Survive at your own pace. There is so much to praise about this game. The map is huge, and you never stop feeling like there is something to explore. Depending on the world that you get, your starting area is enough to fill the first 10 hours of your game. With multiple biomes, each with their own hazards in both the environment and type of life that exists. Each new biome brings danger and opportunity. The game is about exploration and harvesting what you find to progress. Each new enemy, each new biome, each new plant, rock, seed, and berry opens up an entirely new path for you to explore, and it's a game truly meant for you to just lose yourself in the day-to-day as you work to make a new recipe for food or a better axe to chop down trees. Visually, the game manages to make so much with so little. The textures and models are sort of pixelated upgrade to what you would see in Minecraft or OSRS. Shapes and models built out of blocks make it feel like a PS1 era adventure game, but that's up close. When approaching a meadow, with the wind blowing and seeing the grass sway, or out at sea watching waves roll and swell with the splash of water at the front of the ship, it really draws you into the game in a personal way. You feel like you are seeing, hearing, and living in this world. That leads me to the sound design. The game's score is immaculate. Every biome has its own musical number. Some of them are peaceful and soft, while others are moody and depressing. While sailing, the music is triumphant. It evokes a sense of pride that makes you want to leap off the boat and charge at whatever dangers lie ahead. Everything has its own unique sound, so you learn to listen for it. While hunting for leather, you can hear the cry of nearby deer so that you can locate them with near pinpoint accuracy. You develop a hunter's intuition to just slow down and listen, only to turn immediately and head right for them, slowing to a crouch to sneak and go in for the kill. Trolls make a crashing sound as they charge towards you, smashing tree and stone in their path to get you. You become in tune with the world as every part of the sights and sound draw you in to keep you engaged. The difficulty of the game is punishing yet manageable, making for a very rewarding experience. It's all about being prepared for whatever known or unknown threat you come across. Everything from the weather to the time of day to a simple random chance encounter that cannot be accounted for really will show up and try to knock you down. And when you get knocked down, there's not just a corpse run back to your body to pick up your loot. You also lose the experience in your skills. You finally got your bow skill up to 30? Well, a chance encounter with a troll in a grey dwarf nest on a rainy night will fix that. It almost quite literally sets you 2 steps back. But don't let that deter you from trying the game. While the game tries to add a sense of crippling realism to the game, it also gives you everything you need to prepare. Before you enter the Black Forest, you can gather and craft enough leather for a full set of armor, enough wood and stone for a club, shield, and knife, and raw materials for food to keep your health up. The reward when meeting that new enemy encounter and knowing you had the tools to survive, or even just happening into a situation and thinking quick enough on your feet, is so high that dying is only a minor convenience. The game is designed to have you as a person embody this Viking warrior, so while there is a narrative to the game, it's not an epic woven tale of political subterfuge and god-slaying like you might have in Skyrim or The Witcher. The world, however, is rich with lore in the form of runestones you run into while progressing. Some of them are specific to a particular person or group of people. Others are specific to the biome that you're in and may not talk about anyone in particular. There are some bugs with the game. It's in early access, so sometimes things behave a little funny. Lootable objects can sometimes jump in the air as if the collidable objects below them shove them upwards, only for them to slowly descend back down. It becomes really annoying when you're trying to pick seeds or berries as they just start floating. Certain enemy nameplates will sometimes not exist, and it'll just be something like enemy object, something similar to that. Here are a few tips that I gained while playing that I think will be helpful to newer players, as well as some of the experienced players with like Rust and Ark that are looking to get into the game. Food is probably the most important resource in the game. It increases the maximum health that you have, the maximum stamina you have, as well as the health regeneration, and that's indicated by the health per tick that you find when hovering over an edible item. You'll also see the time for like the duration of the food buff. At first you'll have access to raspberries and mushrooms on the ground, but you can get meat from boars and deers in the meadow. You can also find deer in like the Black Forest and stuff as you explore. That food is really important though as you explore, as it does keep you healthy enough to kind of survive some of the earlier parts of the game. Tip number 2 is that all resources are used in the game to build into more powerful recipes. It is a great idea to just save what you find, if that means creating an extra kind of like storage part of your camp. It is a good idea to just save, and if you have to make multiple trips, it might be worth as well, just because some of those resources are just so valuable. Definitely think about storage and ways to kind of get resources back to camp when necessary. Combat actually has some depth to it. There are bonus damage modifiers for stealth, It's often a good idea to kind of shoot things from a distance with a bow if you can see them before they see you. It's a little bit trickier as some of the enemies kind of blend in, but you can often use sound to kind of indicate where they are. You can equip a shield in one hand and a one-handed melee weapon in the other when you get there, obviously. So, but blocking is one of the most important parts of combat. Blocking can absorb all of the damage, if not just the majority of damage. There's also a flawless block kind of parry mechanic if you're familiar with Dark Souls. In fact, you'll kind of see that Dark Souls is a little bit relied on in this game. Valheim is inspired by Dark Souls quite a bit. So the flawless block mechanic, timing it just right, will cause a kind of stagger on the opponent, allowing for an increased damage. It's one of the other damage modifiers. There's also a dodge roll that it appears to have invulnerability frames. I haven't necessarily looked this up, but I was able to dodge attacks that I feel like I wasn't otherwise going to be able to. Definitely try out dodge roll on certain enemies. Most of the time you can just get away with walking up and parrying and staggering, and knocking them off guard. And then the last part of this tip is just that different weapon types work better on different enemies. So for example, skeletons are really weak to clubs, so like melee weapons for like bashing. You'll see that you'll kill them a little bit faster with those weapons than you might a sword or a dagger. It's definitely worth experimenting with different weapons against all different enemies. So Valheim scratches a very specific and a broad variety of itches. It's equal parts survival and RPG. The world is rich with narrative, but it doesn't force you into a plot with the storyline and side quests. It's very much go at your own pace, and it never feels like you're being too punished for going too fast or slow. This game is something that you will put on after a long day to relax to, or it might be a game that you come home and test your survival skills against tough enemies. Everything from the music to the visuals are catered to drawing you into this crafted world and helping you feel like a Viking in the afterlife. If you've never tried a survival game like me, or if you're experienced in games like Rust and Ark, this is a game that deserves your attention. At $20, you're getting well over 100 hours of game time, and it's a game that I can see you coming back to and playing with your friends to help them experience as well. So that was my impression and thoughts on Valheim. I think it's a game you should definitely check out. Go ahead and let me know in the comments below what you think. Did you like it? Did you dislike it? Have you even played it yet? You can find me playing it live at twitch.tv/ScrambyEggman Monday through Friday. Come hang out and let's have some fun. Scramby out.